you miss me? I've been out of a comatose, but the
Hello and welcome to Controlled Burns, the weekly hobbylist podcast from me, your host, Andrew Burns, or Slow Burn from Wildfire Gaming. I am rejoined again by my wife Reagan for this week's episode. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Andrew.
We got a pretty great response for our standards from our Villainous podcast episode a couple weeks ago, and we've spent a disproportionate amount of time this last couple of weeks playing the game. So we've actually had the time to rank all 12 of the Star Wars characters that are currently in the game. So today we're going to share our rankings of these characters, fresh off of playing each one over the last couple of weeks since the release of Cold Tactics this month, which is the new expansion.
At least twice we've played each character
Right,
in Star Wars.
that is correct.
We have some differing opinions, so it'll be interesting to debate a little bit. Certainly, there's a lot of things we agree on.
Yes. So that's what we'll be discussing this week. Before we do that, I also want to remind you that Controlled Burns is a weekly hobbylist podcast with a particular focus on lists and topics related to video games, music, TV, and film, as well as other hobbies and aspects of pop culture. If you're interested in writing into the podcast and having your comments or questions read on air, you can at controlledburnes with an es at gmail.com. And for the first time this week, I have to report that we have in fact gotten our first write-in.
Oh, that's very exciting.
Um,
Thank you, listener.
Typically, it would be very exciting. However, I regret to inform you that it is basically a troll post.
No,
But true to my word, I will be reading all the mail that we received on the show.
this is a surprise to me.
So this week's email comes from Eddie Hernandez
Hernandez,
with an insightful opinion here.
our favorite listener.
And I quote, "Very important episode, but I can't help but think that Andrew's voice is so sexy." Smiley face.
Okay, well, which episode is he responding to?
He did not say.
Okay, well, they're all very important episodes. You should listen to all of them. Um, thank you, Eddie. So this is in reference to my first words to Andrew in person. We had been talking for a week, but we're not able to meet because of the ice storms in Texas. And I was already in love with him. But my godmother, Aunt Lala, was a little nervous that I was getting ahead of myself. And she was like, "You haven't even heard his voice. What if you don't like what he sounds like?" And it did get to me a little bit, but not enough to get over my fear of an awkward phone call.
Yeah.
So we met when he opened the car door for me. And he said something normal, like, "Hi." And I just went, "Oh, your voice is so sexy." Which it is. As
It's,
everyone who's ever listened to this podcast knows, Andrew has an incredible voice and mine is intolerable. So thank you for tuning in and putting up with mine, Eddie,
you
or
could have
just
just
listening
listened
to Andrew's episodes, which
Awesome.
honestly, fair play.
Yeah, not exactly what I had in mind when I said that he should be writing in, but yes, that is sorry, officially our first write-in. So it's only took us 10 months.
Oh, from our favorite fan. We'd love to hear more, Eddie.
Yes. All right, with that, it's time to get into the meat of the episode, discussing each of the Star Wars characters in Villainous. So we did our podcast a couple of weeks ago. I mentioned that the Star Wars version of the game is my favorite, and I'm a big Star Wars fan. I literally cannot remember not having seen the original three, which were
Sure.
out when I was a child.
I mean, we've seen home videos of you as a
Hmm.
very little boy with it on in the background.
Right. And so I love that this version of the game is kind of a great merging of two things that I am passionate about. And I am lucky that I have you to share those things with, so it's very nice.
Sure, and you shared the movies with me, all but one for the first time. I'd seen Force Awakens in theaters, and we watched all of them. Other than that, well, we binged them after we got together.
Beyond the Star Wars theming, though, I think the reason that I like the Star Wars version of Villainous the best is I do think that the characters are more complex than the Disney characters. Their win conditions are typically harder to achieve. The mechanics are more complex with the advent of ambition as a second currency, and then the vehicles, which I've enjoyed experimenting with,
Restrictions?
restrictions. And yet with that added complexity, things I don't think things get too messy like they do with Marvel, where they kind of try to also change things up, and I think to a detriment.
Yeah.
So that's great. And then I also think that in many cases the theming is quite strong, which I think maybe matters more to me with Star Wars than it does for Disney, just because I'm more attached to many of those characters.
It's kind of reverse for me. Still with how much Star Wars we've watched, some of them are still from TV shows we haven't gotten to yet, or um, various things. And so I don't understand the theming for all of them. It could be good or on the nose, or it could be like wildly off. I don't know. Whereas pretty much all of the Disney ones, I know exactly what they're going for. But for I've grown to appreciate the Star Wars theming more as we've consumed more of the content. We understand a lot of some of the Clone Wars stuff now.
Yeah. So with that, I figure we'll trade off entries going from the bottom up. And I think the best way to do it is to just have our discussion on each character when they come up for the first time, rather than having like two separate discussions.
Okay.
And since Reagan is technically a guest, I will start. But I have the notes, so I'll just have to read her list.
Okay.
But actually, the bottom of our lists we have the same character at the bottom. And
Yes.
the bottom of both of our lists at number 12, which is 12 characters, is Moff Gideon. One of the original characters in the original box. Moff Gideon, in terms of the stats, we've had 13 games with Moff Gideon total. Well, no, that's not true. Is that true? No, I guess that is true. 13 games total. He has 7 wins and 6 losses, so he actually is ranks number 4 in terms of win rate,
Hmm.
the positive record. I have one, so I'm 4-4 with him. So I've actually made up the majority of his games, it seems. Um, and then you are 2-3. So you actually have lost one more than you have won.
Interesting.
But I think we both agree. I mean, we'll see if you agree with what I'm saying here, but I put him last because I really just don't think that he works as he was intended to work. And so that's kind of a failing of the design. And like everyone else, he has 30 cards in his deck, which is how many makes up each villainous character's deck. But to win, he really only needs 3, which are Dr. Pershing, laboratory samples, and I would argue captured, which is what allows him to capture Grogu with the least amount of fuss.
Hmm.
And I'll typically throw in some Beskar as well,
Hmm.
because that lets you play stuff from your hand for free, including captured, which cuts down on the ambition that you need to win. But then once he has those 3 cards, he just pays 5 ambition to win. That's all he has to do.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's not, I was really resistant to the idea that he's not like he's broken, like he doesn't play like intended. But there's just so many of the mechanics that the cards help you work around just aren't worth it. Like it's all around Grogu being out and moving him around and stuff. And it's just so much faster to just wait for those cards than
yeah.
to get Grogu out ahead of time and then try to mess around with them.
Right. I think what the devs intended for this character was to be kind of a scramble for custody of Grogu, which is sort of what the show is like, particularly in season 2.
Hmm.
But the reality is there's no need to play him at all until you're ready to win, because the laboratory samples give you an extra ambition spot, so you can bring him out and still win on that turn. And you
Hmm.
only need to play captured. Basically, to do that, you only need 2 ambition spots, which there's one on the thing. It's on the bottom, so it can't be covered. And then the laboratory samples on this one specific spot that I'm thinking of. That's the
Yes.
second one. And so you pay your ambition to bring him out with captured, either by discarding some Beskar or just paying for it. And then you pay your ambition to win, as long as you have Dr. Pershing there. And so technically, his opponents could bring Grogu out before he's ready. And to be fair, I don't think that's ever happened in
Yeah.
our 13 games. But even in that case, I still don't think that it would really make much of a difference or impact his path to victory that much, because you could still do the exact same thing I said. Even if he was like out, just play capture and he just immediately goes to where you want him to be. So the result is almost all of his cards feel kind of useless because they're focused on getting Grogu out or moving him around in methods other than the one that is the optimal path. And then he also has 2 just absolutely worthless conditions. One of them is just it powers up your Dark Troopers, and then the other one is you reshuffle your discard pile into your deck. Well, that's horrible because you're trying to get through your deck.
Yeah.
And
And it's not
then
like I don't think with this character, someone can mess with your hand and make you like lose any of those
I
cards,
mean
can
it.
they?
Well, you did make me lose Doctor Pershing one time. I think it's like there's a ship that can be played where you lose the top 4 cards of your deck.
Oh, well, so that would be a use for
Right.
reshuffling
That's
here.
true. So I guess there are some very fringe use cases for it, but generally you're just trying to discard that crap to get to what you really are trying to get to.
There's one very notable thing about his ships, though, that we should say, which is that he's one of the only characters I can think of that only has one fate spot, and his
Right.
other fate spot is on a ship.
Right.
Um,
So that can create a problem for him whenever he's up against a fast character like Kylo Ren.
well, what I was gonna say, yeah, he's the first character that ever lost
Ren
Kylo Ren
beat.
because,
Because of that reason.
yeah, which we'll talk more about Kylo Ren and how he works later, but
Yeah, he's superior.
sure.
Yes. So yeah, there's those conditions. Um, 8 of his 30 cards are just troopers of regular kinds. So you have the dark ones, which are like there's 4 of them. There's one for each spot, basically. Then you have death troopers and regular troopers. Few of which he really needs because there are not very many heroes in his fate deck, and literally all of them, 2/1, are weaker than 1 dark trooper.
Yeah.
So as a result, there's really no need for him to play the Dark Saber, which is another one of his unique mechanics, because the Dark Troopers are already more powerful than his heroes.
Yeah, and the dark saber, you want to use it because it's fun in theory, but
It's fun
you
in
just
theory. It allows
not incentivized by the game to play it.
right. It can move between heroes and villains, which is a cool idea.
And
But
it had our coolest moment with this character.
right, because I gave it to it's just funniest because I gave it to
Yeah.
the client.
Yeah.
But really, it hurts him more than it helps him because heroes can get it, and then also there are 2 heroes in his deck that make him lose ambition if the Dark Saber is out.
Yeah.
And so you're just like totally disincentivized from playing it. So with all that in mind, I think he's just too flawed. His deck does a very poor job of being useful in most situations. And then even when you do get a win with him, which I have done, like I said, 4 times, you barely feel anything from it. Like it's not a very satisfying win. And that is when you know you're dealing with a gimped character in Villainous, because in my opinion, a victory should always be a rush in Villainous. And
Hmm.
some characters definitely accomplish that more than others, and I would say Moff Gideon is pretty much at the bottom, down there with new Ursula.
And it's not just because they collect things, like, or they need certain cards to play. Like, because old Ursula is fantastic. And she has, she has to have the crown, she has to have the trident or whatever.
Mhm.
Like, it's not just that he needs the laboratory samples or whatever. It's all the mechanics that are broken on
right.
the
It's really
way there.
the Grogu stuff.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
And it's not just because I'm a Mandalorian hater, although I am.
That's true, and I am not a Mandalorian hater. And I like Moff Gideon fine, but and I was thought it was kind of cool that he was in there, but
He gets
yeah,
picked for being Gus Fring.
does he?
One thing we should address is this original Villainous or Star Wars Villainous pack. The pieces
Oh,
that are hideous.
his actually is not that bad either.
No, it's not. But
It's really just Vader is really bad. Grievous is pretty bad. Really, it's just those 2 that are pretty horrendous.
yeah, Kylo Ren's the only one that like kind of almost enhances it because his like almost seemed like it melted.
Well, I guess Moff
It's like-
Gideon's particles, like, I don't know, I don't really notice them as much. I guess they don't really show up as much with this color scheme.
Yeah, like
Same thing for Assaj.
yeah. So Darth Vader's he's like a not quite black, but they tried to make it black. But transparent or semi-transparent. Anyway, he's got what looks like white crumpled up spitballs thrown
Yes,
in there.
that's correct.
And they all do, but his are white, so it's like really egregious. And the closer they are to the edge of the mold, the more obvious it is that it's just like it looks like paper.
Yeah, honestly, I've seen way worse ones than ours. Like, I've seen
Really?
some with, like, it just, like, totally screwed up his face.
Oh,
Like, ours, it could be worse.
really?
Ours are mostly really bad in the back.
That's true. Uh, so I don't know whose idea it was. I don't know if
Or if it was just a mistake of some kind, like a defect.
yeah, like it
They've
was
said it's not, or it's been claimed that it is not, but that literally could just be a lie.
sure. Yeah, like maybe they're like, oh, this could work in theory. My theory is that they were supposed to melt and make like cool swirls, and then they like, didn't get hot enough or something.
I don't know.
Uh, anyway, it's a disaster, and we should be sent 5 new pieces.
But now, if it was a defect, or they've like stopped doing it that way, which I wouldn't, I have no idea, no way of knowing that.
Mhm.
That would be, I think it would be kind of interesting because we were obviously extremely early adopters of Star Wars Villainous. This is the original print that we have. So if they were the only ones that were that way, that would be kind of cool in a way.
Well, yeah, then it becomes a novelty. Like Misprinted Pokemon cards.
Not having misprinted Queen of Hearts.
Oh, that's right. We'll get to that when we do our Disney ranking.
Right. Okay, so that was both of our number 12. Now our lists diverge at number 11, so I'll go ahead and do yours first. Reagan's number 11, a character that she didn't originally have higher, but really fell from grace based on the last game,
Yeah.
is Darth Maul.
Oh,
So I guess I should say that for we did kind of write tiers for them. So for Moff Gideon, I gave him a D. Reagan gave him a D plus. I don't really do the pluses and minuses. I just have the regular, straight on. So
yeah.
I gave him a D. Reagan gave him a D plus. For Darth Maul, Reagan has given him a C minus. Darth Maul is not my number 11. He's actually my number 10. So it's not too far off. I gave him a C as well.
Okay.
Our overall standings with him, not very good. He's 2 and 5. And I have, well, I guess I'm responsible for 1 win, 2 losses. And then you are responsible. No, that's you that's responsible for 1 win, 2 losses. And then I am responsible for 1 win and 2 losses too. So I guess it actually should be 2 and 4. Is that what I said?
I don't know. I was
I
thinking
said 2
of
and
his
5.
piece.
Oh no, it is. It's right. 2 and 5 is correct because also Hank played at one time.
Right.
Yes. So
I do think he gets an honorary award for
okay.
being the piece I would pick if I had to fight someone with one. He is very sharp.
That is
His
true.
little head spikes could put an eye out. But very cool looking. Really good cape, really good silhouette. And that's a pro. Let's get into the cons. No, there's other good things about him. I mean, he gets points just for being Star Wars because there's those added mechanics of the extra currency and the ships and whatever. He did drop in this last playthrough because I had zero fun.
That's a problem.
It was a problem. I was fate spammed.
It was a brutal game for sure.
It was a brutal game. I was fate spammed from the jump, which could make most characters pretty unfun, but
Well,
not everyone.
not everyone.
Yeah, there should be ways to work with that
Mhm.
and still have joy.
Yeah, and Darth Maul is definitely. I mean, even it doesn't even take much. Like, I don't even think you'd need to be fate span. That will definitely make it worse. But I don't even think you really have to be fate span for him because, like, it's nothing that you do until he gets a hero out is really too bad. But then once he has a hero out, it is just so easy to set him back, and it is so much work to advance that is very disheartening.
Mhm.
Like Kylo Ren, it's also very disheartening, but it's not as much work to like make progress in him either. So
Yeah.
it's a little bit more of a push pull. Whereas Darth Maul, it feels like you're overcoming insurmountable obstacles at times.
And you need a hero out to make
Right,
progress, so
yeah.
it's not that long in the game
No,
where that
it's not.
happens.
You're right. So he's a little bit of a bummer because conceptually, I think he's one of the coolest characters in Villainous. Like I said, each of us has only won once with him, but the first win was Reagan's, and literally what she did was she turned Ahsoka to the dark side and used her to kill Obi-Wan Kenobi.
It was this ultimate revenge against the Jedi.
Yeah, lore-wise, that is incredible. Unfortunately, the actual act of pursuing that goal is very monotonous. All you really do is just beat the hell out of the same characters over and over again to turn them to the dark side. Takes forever, especially like I said, when being faded regularly. And really, it just kind of leads to this sort of samey, slow, methodical play style.
I mean, there's different ways you can do it, but not enough.
Mhm.
The allies,
Well, his allies are
samey.
horrendous. It's literally just 4 Mandalorian super commandos and 4 tour guide droids, and then he has that one guy.
Yeah.
Whatever. Savage Oppress.
And I do get excited about him. What's nice about him is he's an ambition play.
Yeah.
But you also need all the ambition plays you can get to make progress with him. But he does drop someone by 2 instead of 1 if you use them in a big shot.
Right, which can instantly be taken back with the right fate card.
Yes, it can. And the thing with Star Wars is even if we weren't doing mostly one-on-one matches, there's not whatever that fate coin is called, where you can't
That's true.
fate someone twice in a row if it's a big enough group. So he can just be absolutely brutalized. And
Yep.
there's some other characters that can be absolutely brutalized that we will have much higher because it's a fun process and there's a lot more. I mean, there is strategy with him, and that's
Mm-hmm.
You know, why I
So it's
have him
not very
higher
fun.
than some of the lowest Disney characters that we'll have later.
Okay.
I can already say. I mean, because I have him as a
C minus.
C minus. So, we didn't give any Fs for Star Wars.
Right.
Um,
Although maybe we should have. Well, I don't know. Gideon is borderline. Like if it wasn't Star Wars, he might be
well, his win was a rush for sure. Like
Yeah, yeah,
it
yeah.
was exciting.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mine
like
wasn't
his
quite as
piece,
cool because I forget that guy's name, but he just looks like an idiot with this stupid wrestling mask on, and he defeated some other guy that we don't care about really.
yeah.
It was not Ahsoka or Obi-Wan, so
I like
all
his ship's okay, but he has a lot of stuff that messes with ships where you could just get him taken away, so you're incentivized to just.
Yep.
But I don't know. His whole ship thing is a mess. And we're still, I think, working out the best strategy for ships because that is a something we didn't have experience with from Disney, which was I still feel like we've had more Disney games than Star Wars games.
Oh, by far. It's not even close.
And each character, there's different priorities you should have with ships. Or there's one character who only has one ship. And that's its own can of worms. I'm blanking on exactly what you can do at his ships, but
But one of them gives him 3 ambition, I know that. One of
Yeah.
them gives him the activate action, which he needs for several of his cards, even though he doesn't have one on his board. That's very annoying.
so that's the thing with him is his ships are kind of crucial, but also it's really easy for them to go away, and there's no way to go through your deck to get him, so you're just gonna be.
Yeah.
I mean, there's one thing where you can draw 6 cards, like discard your hand and draw 6 cards. That's still gonna take a while, and there's only a few of those.
And maybe you don't want to discard everything in your hand. Like that can be kind of brutal also.
Mm-hmm.
So
And then like there's issues with like if you want to get there, if your maneuver spot is covered by 2 heroes, your only other maneuver is on one of those ships. And then your only activate is on one of those ships. The only other way you can do it is there's like a couple
2
cards.
cards.
Is it literally
It
just
is
2
literally
that
2.
let you activate?
Mhm.
And that's like, okay, so one thing I love, and we call it the Captain Hook character trait or whatever, is when you have lots of new things that you can do.
New actions.
New actions, yes, when you play more items and allies and stuff to the bottom. So even though you might have heroes up top that are limiting your actions, you still have a lot of things you can do on your turn when you go to a space.
Right. That's right. That's great.
And yeah, and activate can be good for that. But you have to be able to activate. And with him, if that ship is taken away or that ship is covered and you can't maneuver away, like to even take the deficit to drawing that having a unfought ship has, then you're just stuck. And you can use, I don't know, it's just there's so many ways to get stuck with him. And I will say for theming, I feel like the thing I've learned as a new Star Wars fan is that the Sith are kind of full of rage and
yes,
just this
some more than
like
others.
inner red feeling. And I think that Darth Maul is maybe the picture of that. And I certainly felt it that last game. I felt Sith-like. So in that way, they nailed it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't really disagree with anything that you're saying. I just had one character that, for now, and I still am pretty confident about this, that I have below him, which it might be our biggest disagreement.
No, you did not. You put him below?
My number 11 is Grand Admiral Thrawn.
You said you weren't going to do this.
No, I said he was from the beginning, and then I said our last game it was Thrawn versus Darth Maul, and I said I would consider it. But
Is this where we reveal where I have Thrawn?
frankly, I'm very disappointed by him. Sure, we can. So for Reagan, she has Thrawn at number 5 at a B plus. I gave him a C. No, actually, I have him at a D.
And he dropped 2 spaces this last playthrough. Maybe Andrew's negativity got to me a little bit.
Well, I think you just decided that you liked those other characters even more.
Yeah, I think I thought I was maybe better.
So we've done 5 games with him so far. 2 wins, 2 losses, and 1 draw because the first time I played him, I screwed it up so bad that we just had to throw that game out.
Yeah.
But so it's not like he has like this horrendous win rate or anything. Although I think that might just be because he's against tough characters most of those times.
He is one of the characters from the new expansion release.
Yes, and we did get, like I said, we got to a rough start with him because I played him wrong. I didn't realize you had to pay 4 ambition and use an ambition action to occupy his spots after taking the artifacts.
Then that's on you. It says
installing a fleet there. Yeah,
on the card and in the instructions.
Absolutely. So we had to throw that game out. And I've since real I mean I didn't like him from that first game. I thought he was too easy, obviously. And then now I just think he's really just kind of a boring slog. I think some characters that are difficult can still be fun.
And
Um,
we'll get there.
yes, we will. But for Thrawn, I just kind of feel like his playstyle is just kind of doing that same thing over and over again. I feel it's very monotonous. Take the artifact, install a fleet, probably get faded at some point before actually getting the chance to occupy space. Deal with that, and then maybe manage to occupy a space or two before ultimately being defeated. Or if you're fighting an opponent that is also really, really hard, you know, fate spamming them back and then maybe winning a battle of attrition there. Um,
But we should explain what he does for the concept behind him for
well, the
people that
idea is
haven't
that
listened to.
he
Yeah.
he has to so he wants to occupy all four of his spaces, which you can move around on the board. You can actually move like change the layout of his spaces before you play the game.
Let me give the pitch. So, as a Thrawn
Doesn't do a whole lot for me.
liker. So, and we haven't seen Rebels, which is what he's from, and I think he's in a book or whatever. Um, but apparently he goes around and learns about cultures and philosophies and collects artifacts in order to know a world before he occupies them and colonizes or whatever. Um, and so he has four locations that you want to occupy, and they're the spaces on the board, but they're cut out so that you can flip them over. And the art changes, so there's like ships or lasers or big menacing Halo stuff going on in each of them. And each has like a little piece on it. So one has like cute little alien cat, some metal, whatever. I'm sure it's
They're all
kind
pretty
of
boring.
lore. Excuse you, that cat's the best piece in all of Star Wars. Um, and so you have to get that artifact off to learn about the culture and then use that information and a little fleet that you add. That
Hmm.
probably has something to do with the occupation, to then spend for ambition and flip that place over. And that moves, so the typical Star or villainous space has two actions up top and two on the bottom. There's exceptions. Think Mother Gothel, but
Yes, that a bit.
that's typical. When you flip it, it goes to three on the bottom and one on top. And the one of them changes. You
Which I'm still
lose.
not convinced is not a misprint.
Yeah, let us know if you know. But I think it's interesting. One of them turns from a play spot to a fate spot. So you can get three fate spots on the bottom of the board
Yes.
by the end of him, which is fascinating. Um, but yeah, one of them might still be on the top.
No. Yeah, I guess that's true. So it's two on the bottom, one on top.
Mhm. But then because those spaces are cut out, you can also, they say to play it in a certain order the first time, and then after that, you can put them in whatever order you want, which you wouldn't think has much of an impact, but
Still don't.
depending on, what's adjacent.
Especially now that we know that you just maneuver anywhere.
Yeah, we knew that at some point. That was deep in my brain, and then we kind of forgot that,
Yes.
which hurt me in my last Thrawn game.
Right.
I won by just a hair. And I definitely would have won sooner if I had known that maneuver in Star Wars is different than in Disney, whereas you get to maneuver a character or an ally anywhere, um, rather than just an adjacent location. But regardless, I think all of that is really cool. I think his art is really good. Um, and he does have a good variety of allies, I think. Lots of strong women.
He does have a decent variety of allies, yes.
Um, like lots of different kinds of things that they do. Some of them add. Um,
Not very many interesting heroes to deal with, though. It's very monotonous to have to kill the same people over and over again.
well, I think that the allies are more important because you want to be excited when you're drawing. You want to have something to look forward to. And so having a lot of different guys, I mean, compared to Darth Maul, who has four and four,
I
and
mean,
then one
yes,
exciting one.
that aspect is better than Darth Maul for sure, but I just don't think conceptually he's as interesting as Darth Maul.
Aren't there
Even
like six different like individual heroes that all do different things?
well, there's quite a few. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So I will grant that flipping over the locations and occupying them It's cool, though it does make for a mess for storage and results in a very flimsy feeling board.
That is the biggest critique. But let me emphasize, when you flip over that location, because it's not easy, it's harder than it sounds. You have to have certain cards to get those artifacts collected, and then it's really easy for your fleets to get taken away.
Mhm.
Um, but flipping it and getting that new art and getting those three spaces on the bottom that can't get covered up, it feels so good.
I just don't agree with that. It does very little for me, that feeling of flipping him over.
Wow.
I accept that the character at least works as intended, unlike Moff Gideon. But I think his play style is just too monotonous for me to really enjoy.
Do you think any of it has to do with you don't like you've never seen anything with him in it? You don't really care about that character or some of the characters that he's fighting
It's
with?
possible, and maybe I'm looking forward to learning more about him. I know that he before the canon stuff, like where he was in Rebels or whatever, he was in those books and those are no longer canon, but I know that people thought they were very good. But
I remember when I looked up the character, or I was trying to look up about the villainous, him as a villainous character. And I read like he's one of the best ones we've ever had. And then it turned out to actually be about like him in the books,
Mhm.
not him as a villainous
Right.
character.
And maybe he's good in Rebels and Ahsoka as well. I don't know. But yeah, I think at the end of the day what I really care about is how fun it is to play each character. I don't really like the theming stuff helps and how much I like that character outside of the game helps, but
Mhm.
it takes more than that and I don't see him moving on my list. I gotta be
Interesting.
honest.
Well, that's disappointing, but um I respect your opinion and you're sticking to it.
Yes.
One final note on him is his piece. We have the Target exclusive piece, which is kind of like white marbly almost. It's really pretty. It's just like kind of
I
shiny.
think it's boring.
Um, but it does baffle me, like because his outfit is white, but he has blue skin
Mhm.
as far as I can tell.
Yes, he does.
So his normal piece is blue, which adds up. But then the exclusive piece is like pretty and shiny and not blue. So unless there's literally like a bust of him somewhere in the lore that's like a white marble bust, I don't understand the target piece at all.
Yeah. Okay, well that was my number 11. Reagan's number 5. So, like I said, a big difference for us. So, we'll go back to number 10 now. So, number 10 on Reagan's side is number 9 for me. So, we have some similarities here. And that is the character of Cad Bane.
Oh, Hank's favorite, right?
I don't know that it's Hank's favorite. Hank was excited about Cad Bane when he was released, but
I
he
certainly,
loves the Clone Wars.
yeah, I certainly associate him with my brother's excitement when we got that character.
Yes. But anyway, Cad Bane is we both gave him C. You gave him actually a C plus. Gave him a C. In terms of overall standings, he has a negative record, but a lot of that is because Hank has played him many times and Hank always loses.
Oh,
But it's
and we
five.
want Hank's willingness to come back and play again.
Sure. 5 wins, 7 losses, and one that we had to throw out because that was whenever you and Hank played, and Hank put multiple target tokens on one character, which is illegal.
Yeah, it has
But
been solid. Every person we've played with, I think, that for more than a few times has had a game thrown out because we messed something up. So
each of us has
no
played
shame.
5 games with Cad Bane. I have 3-2 record. You have a 2-3 record. You actually lost one more game than I have. He's another character I think that is hurt by the sameness and monotony of his playstyle. Basically, all he has to do is defeat 5 heroes. But in order for that to count, he has to do them with specific cards, specifically this one called Now It's My Turn, which makes up 6 of his 30 card deck, with other spots taken up with cards that either add tokens to the heroes or allow him to kill a hero and claim a token without going through the process. So he just has a lot of very samey cards. Um, that said, unlike some of the other Star Wars characters, I do think that he is viable against pretty much anyone, which is, well, except for Assaj, but no one is really viable against her. So that's nice. He does have a nice variety of allies, all of which are unique. I don't think he has any duplicates.
Excellent perk.
Which
That
is
is,
cool.
yeah, that's a huge one.
Um,
Very exciting to draw. Have unique allies.
right. And then has cards that make him more interesting, I think, than the characters I have below him on this list, but certainly I would not put him anywhere near one of the best Star Wars villainous characters.
Hmm. I think that's fair. this piece is pretty cool. He's got his little hat or whatever.
Mhm.
I think in general, the Star Wars pieces aren't as creative as the Disney pieces. They're often just kind of a bust of the character with maybe a lightsaber element thrown in, or something of the sort. But they're still, I mean, often look just as cool. They just aren't as creative. Um, I, yeah, the target tokens, it's like, oh, we're putting out a hit on a
Yeah, I mean, it's
person.
kind of cool in the sense that, it's the idea is that Cad Bane himself is the one that's finishing them off. Whereas normally, you're just having your allies do it.
Yeah, but that works conceptually.
Works conceptually, but it just kind of makes him kind of a one-note character, I feel.
Yeah,
But and it's in contrast to other characters that we'll discuss later that also are trying to kill heroes, but they have a variety of ways to accomplish that.
well, also like he's not killing them, right? Like that kind of undercuts the putting a hit out on them is he's a bounty hunter. Just he has to return them alive, right? Or is it a dead or alive thing?
It depends on the client.
But regardless, he's defeating himself, which
Well, yeah.
is kind of a plot hole in a lot of them. If you think about like, why is Darth Vader never killing anyone himself? Why is
Sure, it definitely is. Absolutely.
But that kind of works. But it's not like with another bounty hunter that's renowned in the galaxy that we'll get to.
Mhm.
That you have someone actually sending you out on these missions.
Right.
It's just kind of
Yeah, that's true.
and there's this one card that sent it out again. Like it's not like I got to do this for Boba Fett or that's I'm sorry, that's not who would send you out. I was thinking, who's the big slime monster?
Jabba the Hutt.
Jabba the Hutt.
Cad Bane
Everyone gets them confused.
Cad Bane does not work for Jabba the Hutt. He works for Count Dooku more than anyone else.
Well, that'd be cool. I'd be more motivated if Count Dooku told me to do something.
Sure. So yeah, I mean, there's really nothing else to say about him. He's kind of there's of all the characters, he might be the one that we have the least to say about him. There's not much to him.
Yeah, I don't remember anything about his ships being particularly interesting.
Yeah.
I kind of wish we'd written down the restrictions,
Oh.
because those can be pretty
I think I did in case
crucial
for
to a
it was
character.
important. I think his restriction, I still literally don't remember what it is, and I've played him 5 times, so it must not be that bad.
There's a huge variety in the restrictions. Like sometimes it's, well, they're just going to send him back some money, but they're going to deal with this the next turn. And sometimes it's, I'm going to spend half the game working on this,
Right.
or the entire game trying to manipulate the big deck to make sure that I don't get this
Right.
restriction.
Correct. So
We'll get to there.
So that's Reagan's number 10. My number 10 was Darth Maul. So moving on to our number 9s. Reagan's number 9 is what we will do first. Well, my number 9 is Cad Bane anyway, so it's really just Reagan's number 9. Reagan's number 9 is Darth Vader.
Darth Vader.
You gave a C plus. I actually ended up higher on this character than you. I gave Darth Vader a B. He is my number 7. He is in the original box, so we have quite a few games with him. And his win record is pretty nuts. He's got 9 wins and 3 losses. And with Reagan, actually, she is 5-0 with Darth Vader.
Undefeated.
And I am 4-2, so I have somehow managed to lose with him twice, even though he was very powerful. And then someone else must have lost with him, some other loser that played with us one time.
He was our first Star Wars match.
That's right, Darth Vader versus Kylo Ren.
Mm-hmm. It was one of our longest matches.
Yes, because neither of us had any idea what we were doing.
I guess he's the only character to make me cry. Because I was Kylo Ren, and
Right.
I was being introduced to a whole new world of hating how brutal it can be.
So yeah, he's kind of the baseline Star Wars villain and villainous, just as he is in the series. He's not super flashy, not particularly strategic. He can actually win pretty fast if he manages to draw the Emperor and get him out early.
Which theming wise, they've made him you feel very powerful playing him, so that works.
That's true. It's fairly easy. So what he's trying to do is he's trying to get Luke to the throne. Basically, it's the Return of the Jedi. His goal in that film. He's trying to get Luke to the Emperor's throne room on second Death Star and turn him to the dark side. And
it's similar to Mother Gothel from Disney,
except for it's way easier to deal with, and that way easier and less complicated than Mother Gothel.
And I would say worse, partly because Luke does not cover actions. He's just kind of floating up there.
Right. And it's fairly easy for opponents to move Luke away from the throne room, which is where Vader needs to get him. But it is also fairly easy for Vader to move him back. So I've historically, I used to have him lower than this. I used to would have probably put him around where Reagan did here. She's got him at number 9. I have him at number 7, and it's certainly a C tier character. But what bumped up to B was actually my last game with him. I've historically won with utilizing this card called Father and Son that allows Vader to just move Luke directly to the throne room and flip him on his conflicted side. He can't win right away with that because it technically moves Luke to where he is. And so, like, if
Yes.
you're at the throne room, then you have to like move somewhere else and then move back. So there's at least going to be one fate opportunity to try to screw that up. But still, that is how I have won the majority of my games with him. But my most recent win with him was actually by moving Luke over space, not even flipped over yet. I actually flipped him with a condition card. And by like setting a hero up for you to kill,
Yes.
which was Han Solo,
And I couldn't resist because
and
of the way my character was.
right, and then I killed Han Solo on my game as well. Which whenever he's conflicted on his conflicted side, he automatically moves over one whenever you kill the character. And so I killed him while standing at the location I wanted to be at, and then did the ambition action to win. And that was pretty
Which
exhilarating.
means that Darth Vader killed Han Solo, or had Han Solo killed
Twice.
in front of Luke, and that made him evil.
Yes.
That's pretty great lore.
I love that, yes. And so that made for a really nice win, and it was not how I had planned initially on pulling it off, which kind of leaves me on a high with the character right now and kind of putting him in the middle of the pack because there's just multiple, he does have multiple viable paths to victory, which I think is cool.
I think that's a huge boon for a character. Boon's not the right word. A good bonus plus
Yeah.
bonus points. 10 points to Darth Vader.
Yeah, and in terms of his cards, I mean, it's just, like I said, he's very baseline Star Wars. All of the cards that you think of when your characters when you think of as Star Wars characters or as heroes. And he's didn't really have any flashy allies because he doesn't have any flashy allies in Eviction. It's just a bunch of stormtroopers
Yeah.
and other Imperial officers and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's a pretty chill game. There's not as much going on strategically as a lot of the characters. It feels like when we go back and play them now, it kind of feels like almost retro. Like, things were so simple back in the day.
Yep.
A little bit how I think Moff Gideon and Grievous also feel that way to an extent, but Darth Vader worked.
That makes sense.
And Moff
They're all
Gideon doesn't.
they're all in the original box. And yeah, I do think that that's part of the reason why he has such a high win rate. That there are quite a few characters that I would s- struggle to imagine them having any shot against Darth Vader. Like just think about Darth Maul going up against him. Think about Count Dooku going up against him. Grand Moff, Grand Admiral Thrawn going up against him. How long it freaking takes to capture one place, much less four. Just like I just cannot fathom them having a shot against Darth Vader.
I mean, Thrawn does well. In some ways, he can get faster as he goes.
No,
and
I
that your
disagree.
opportunity
It's the last one that takes the longest.
set until the last one, and then the last one, which we didn't mention, but like theme wise, you made a point about the last.
Yeah, it's like the
one.
last stand of the rebels. I think that is cool, but it is very frustrating whenever you are trying to get rid of them.
Yeah.
But
But you
yeah.
have the most options available to you when you're doing that. By that time, you should have a lot of the allies or perks out.
That's true. So yes, I really am, I'm high. I'm on a high with Darth Vader right now. I'm higher than I've ever been on him. So I give him a B. Reagan gave him a C plus.
And I struggled. I wondered if I was underrating him. It'll be interesting to see once we get to Disney, because generally we think of Star Wars as being a little bit better, just in terms of the added strategy and stuff. So it'll be interesting to see if I was too harsh on Star Wars once we go back to those Disney characters, or if this kind of slots in about right as what did I say, C plus? We'll see.
Okay, so that's like I said, Reagan's number 9. My number 9 was Cad Bane. So going back to Reagan's number 8, actually is also my number 8, is the Seventh Sister. This is a character with a very bad record in terms of win-loss rate. She is 2-7-1. I think the one is because you didn't do anything wrong, but that was one where Hank quote unquote won with the screwed up Cad Bane. So yes, only one. We've each only managed to win with her once. Reagan's record is 1-3-1 with her. I'm 1-3 with her. So obviously lots of failures. Trying to play this character. I do think she's a contender for hardest character of the game. Certainly the top 5 hardest. She has to defeat 3 heroes and then spend
Specific heroes.
Yeah, and then spend an exorbitant amount of ambition to remove them from the game permanently. I do
Not same, like when you do the Vanquish, you have to spend it.
I think the permanence of removing heroes is a good idea. I typically enjoy these kind of hunt type characters. But her biggest problem, I think, is her board is just not conducive to accomplishing any of her steps quickly.
Yeah.
And ultimately, I do not think that she is really a viable opponent for most of the characters. Certainly any that can move at any sort of reasonable rate. It just takes too much time for her to find the characters that she's looking for to build up enough ambition to remove them from the game. She, as a baseline, needs 19 ambition to remove the characters. And that's to say nothing about actually spending ambition on cards and stuff like that. And then she also has to obviously execute on those goals without being faded to hell and having her board clog up with all these other heroes that she's not interested in, which is very common. I also think it's worth noting that she is probably the character I know the least about because I'd at least heard of Grand Admiral Thrawn and kind of have an idea of what he's about. I have nothing on the Seventh Sister really. I understand that she's one of those, I forget what they call them, but there's like this group of sort of dark Jedi type characters
Pointy hats.
that are going after survivors after the Jedi have been kind of they try to wipe them out.
I think,
but that's all I really know about her. I don't know anything about her individually.
yeah. And with Thrawn, like I didn't know anything about him before either, but his instruction booklet gave me enough where I'm like, oh, that's a cool concept. Like he learns about these places before he occupies them, and he's got like kind of an intelligent side or whatever. Fluting.
Yes,
I think that she is the least memorable.
that's fair.
You could tell me that I played her once, and I'd be like, yeah, that sounds about right. And apparently, I've played her 5 times. And I think it was only this last time that I really memorized what her goal is. I think part of it is that the 3 heroes that she needs to kill are
Well, one of them's Ahsoka, and then it's 2 other people that we don't know.
we don't know them, but they also show up enough in other
Right.
fate decks that it's kind of like they run together at this point.
That is true.
There's not a lot that really makes her unique. Like she has to pay ambition when she kills them, but I don't even know that that's unique at this point.
Well, I mean, removing them from the game permanently is unique.
That's true. I guess the closest we have to that is Scar, and that's not permanent.
That's right. It's not
mess
permanent.
with it.
Yeah, so that's sort of unique. But yeah, I agree that very unmemorable character. And just the fact that we know the least about her could play a role in that. Maybe we'll think she's awesome after we've seen Rebels, but kind of doubt it. I think she'll probably be sticking around where she is, which is bottom half pretty easily, pretty comfortably. And Star Wars Villainous, number 8 for both of us.
I appreciate them trying to include women, but they should write better women, I guess.
Okay. So moving on, so she's both of our number 8. Moving on to Reagan's number 7. This is another one where we have some disagreements and always kind of have. Reagan's number 7, so top of the bottom half, is General Grievous.
Oh, yes.
She gave a B minus, same as Seventh Sister. Grievous, we've had quite a few games with him because he was in the original box, so he still has a losing record, but he's on a little bit of a winning streak right now. He's got 6 wins and 8 losses.
Now, if you've kind of listened in the background, I'm going to need you to pay attention because his goal is pretty complicated. So what he's got to do is he's got to kill some Jedi, and they're holding some lightsabers. And when he kills them, he's going to take that lightsaber from him, and he's going to do that
8 times.
Well, probably not because some of them are holding 2. He just needs to collect 8 lightsabers, and that's it.
Right.
You understand how to play him now.
That's right. And you cut me off before I finished everybody's stats.
Oh, I'm
You're
sorry.
3-3 with him, and I am 4-2 with him. So winning record with Grievous for me.
Got a little sassy.
I know that Reagan is clearly a Grievous hater, but he has always clicked for me. I think in general, I like characters that reward you for killing heroes because it removes a little bit of the sting out of being invaded since it's actually kind of moving you toward your goal. Grievous expands on this by setting fate traps very effectively that I think are awesome. That one in particular lets him bring back heroes that he's already killed, and you can combo that with like if there's only one. Technically, your opponent gets to choose which one comes back, but if there's only one option and it's one with 2 lightsabers, that's extremely effective. And then you kill him again and get double the reward. And it's also a fun puzzle to try to figure out how to utilize his underpowered droid army to kill a legion of Jedi.
Where are they underpowered?
And there are lots of fun combinations that you can utilize for how to accomplish that. I think they do a good job of varying up his allies. He does have some duplicates, but he has a lot of different unique ones as well. Plus, his fate deck will it's going to send him back somewhat, but at worst, he can only lose one lightsaber per cycle, so it helps him keep that sense of forward momentum, which is a problem for many Star Wars characters. So playing this character well really does get me feeling like the character, specifically the really fearsome version of Grievous that we got in the original Cartoon Network version of Clone Wars, where he's just going on this Jedi killing rampage and capturing all their, taking all their lightsabers.
Mhm.
And I think that that is awesome. We've never really seen that version of Grievous in anything since then. And that was like 2003 when that came out.
Mm.
He's not really a very intimidating character in like the movies or even in like the canon Clone Wars that we're watching now. He just loses all the time.
Oh, there's that moment where he holds like 6 lightsabers or something, and you're like, oh.
Yeah, well, see, that's why he has 8 because technically, well, I guess you only ever see him wield 4 in the film,
Is that true? Okay.
but that's still pretty awesome. So yeah, I think that it is like I really have no complaints about him at all. I have him at an A. He's not the most complicated character in the world, but I always have a fun time whenever I'm playing General Grievous.
Well, that's great. And I don't want to yuck on your yum. I was getting back at you for Thrawn a little bit. But I wish he did more for me. No, the color I don't really like. He's also in that original pack, and he's like kind of white,
Yeah, his
but
character, his
just
piece is
foggy. Like,
yeah, it's a weird piece.
yeah.
It would be cool otherwise, like it's just like his face, which his face is very intimidating.
Mhm. I don't know. I don't have a lot to say about him, honestly. It's feels like a very simple game, but there is more strategy to it with than just kill a bunch of heroes. I mean, that's the essence of it, but
And it's another character that I think it's hard to imagine some of these newer characters that are much more complicated and hard to really have much of a chance against him. So that's why I think that his record is going to continue to increase because his pool of opponents, like he was maybe one of the harder ones compared to Assaj Ventress and Darth Vader, and even Moff Gideon, can win pretty easily depending on how he draws his cards. But yeah, compared to a lot of these much harder characters that have been created since then, I think he'll go on a little bit of a winning streak
yeah.
there. So good for him.
I think he's a great starter character too. If you're introducing someone to Star Wars, he's really easy to understand. That can have a fun time playing as him.
Yes.
So if you're introducing someone to the game and you don't want them to be overwhelmed,
Or frustrated.
yeah.
And if you are wanting somebody to be frustrated, then
No, we got the character for
the
you.
next character, it would be pretty good for him. This character is actually number 6, it looks like, on both of our lists.
Interesting. I thought he might be higher on yours.
This is a character, well, I do have him a tier higher than you, but same spot on the list. I guess
Okay.
because I'm overall higher on Star Wars than you are. This is a character that I think, without question, has but we've played the most between us and Star Wars.
Well, I needed to, surely.
And that is Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren, we have 20 games of Kylo Ren under our belts. 4 wins and 16 losses for Mr. Kylo Ren.
Thank God.
Reagan makes up the lion's share of those. She's got 2 wins and 10 losses. And for me, I have 2 wins and 5 losses with Kylo Ren. And then, of course, anyone else who's ever tried to play him has also lost because he is brutally, brutally, brutally difficult.
Yes, and I would just put myself through that over and over because I had won with every other Star Wars character. And Disney, that's what I'm currently going through with Scar. I still haven't won a Scar.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, he's also very hard. I think really harder than Kylo Ren. But Kylo Ren, yes, I think it's safe to say no, certainly no Star Wars villainous character, maybe no just villainous character ever in general, has the ups and downs as often and dramatically as Kylo Ren does. Most characters are, they're kind of focused on their goal and maybe occasionally getting back at their opponent, and kind of trying to obstruct them from achieving their goal. Kylo Ren's fate deck is so brutal that he has to focus on trying to manipulate that
Yeah, it took us a while to learn that, but you absolutely fate deck first.
as much as he does trying to fulfill his objective of, or maybe even more,
Yeah.
he is trying to fulfill his objective of moving his 6 alignment tokens to the dark side. So they start off in the middle, they can be moved up to the light side, they can move down to the dark
Yes,
side.
he has an extra board with 6 extra tokens to keep track of his goodness meter.
Yes.
Big Stitch coloring in how good or bad he is. And Lilo and Stitch. These 2 fate cards that we're talking about, they're the most brutal. Although there are others that are,
Right.
honorary mention for Leia, who makes stuff more expensive.
Well, that's what I was going to talk about next. He could technically fulfill his goal very quickly and easily if he is not fated. Unfortunately, everything in his fate deck sets him back dramatically. There are multiple cards that are just moving his stuff back, sometimes more than one at a time. And then you have Ray, which moves literally all of them back. And then you have a condition, which just brings Ray out, even if she's already on the board, and just does it again. And then,
Like, also, it's a restriction, and so you also have to like do something to. I think it's like you can't vanquish until
yeah,
you
no, you can't move them until you either get rid of Ray or pay to remove the restriction.
and pay ambition, which you
Need to do
need
anything.
desperately in order to move those things down.
Yes. You also have Princess Leia, which single-handedly removes all of your ambition. And
Oh, right, that's what she does. Oh,
yeah, so
oh, all of them.
and then not to mention if you like are like, oh God, well Ray's awful or Princess Leia's awful, let me just kill them real fast. Well, he's got character cards that allow you to just bring cards back from the discard pile. So while yes, he is never technically too far away from victory especially once you get Snoke out, because technically Snoke can move a piece down every turn. He is
It's
set
not
back
fast enough.
so easily that his games inevitably include just these huge swings between hope and despair. Reagan has pointed out that his playstyle does a great job of making you feel the angst of the character of Kylo Ren.
Oh, the angst is just perfectly encapsulated. Excellent theming.
I think it is some of the best theming.
In terms of his villain deck, I think it's definitely a lower your standards and look again. Like we used to just discard, like this is all trash, give me something good. But there's nothing other than like Snoke, there's not a lot flashy. There's like one that lets you move two down
But
or
only like one. So like it's two, but it doesn't move all the way to the bottom, I don't think.
yeah, it's like one from the top and one from the
That
middle.
might be true.
Or something like that. So there's like a few things, but for the most part, you really got to make do with what you've got with him. You're not waiting for a cool ally like you are with, or I mean, you're waiting for that one cool ally, and you probably want to discard until you get him. But even that, it takes a ambition action and anything else to get rid of, or to move stuff to the dark side also takes ambition action. So it's like you can have your one, but that's not going to outpace your fate deck.
Yes. That's actually one of my favorite things about him is that almost all of his deck is helpful in some way toward achieving his goal in various ways. And so like
Not much.
and so I don't find it's like the opposite of Moff Gideon for me, where I'm just like, this is all useless to me. Like I really think that pretty much everything you could find a use for. Eventually you don't really need once you have Snoke out, you don't really need the cards that move the tokens because you just have Snoke do it. So you can discard those at that point.
Well, at least the ones that move at one.
Yeah, but yeah, I think that he's a roller coaster of emotions. I consider him to be, to me, when I think of Star Wars Villainous, I just think of him as one of the most iconic and exhilarating characters in the game. You know that you are in for a emotional experience whenever
Yes.
you play, a draining experience when you play
Oh, very draining.
Kylo Ren.
He is, yeah, definitely. I mean, the only one that's made me cry. It's not uncommon for him to end in a like further away from his goal than he started the game.
Yep.
So with all that said, it's we haven't said a lot of great stuff about him.
No, I feel like I have.
He's certainly the most mixed bag for me. And I think when we first started playing him, I had him as like an F.
Oh yeah, I had him very low as well.
Based purely on the frustration. But winning as him is
It might
such
be
a
unmatched.
high.
It might
Yeah.
be the highest high.
And I mean, the theming is good. His piece is cool because it is just his best mixed with the lightsaber, but it's a double hilted, or it looks like you don't know what his lightsaber looks like. He's got the two little things sticking out, and so those are like his arms, and that's cute. I don't know. We have a love-hate relationship. Anytime we play him, I'm like, why do I like him? He's brutal, but well designed, I think.
Yes. Okay, so that was both of our number 6. Number 5 for Reagan is Thrawn, which we've already talked about.
Mhm.
So it's time for my number 5, who is also Reagan's number 4.
Interesting.
And that is Captain Phasma.
Oh, Brienne of Tarth.
Yes, Brienne of Tarth. I think this is the character. Well, she's tied, I guess, for character that we spent the least amount of time with. We've only had 5 games with her. She's 2-3, so she does have a losing record. For you are 1-2 with her. I am one and one with her. But I really love Captain Phasma. I think in some ways I wanted to put her even higher, but I do have to admit that a lot of her game is just kind of doing some of the key actions over and over again, which is something I criticize with other characters.
Hmm.
But at her core, Captain Phasma is an RPG grind. So she's just building up her army of stormtroopers to their level cap, if you will,
Hmm.
by using them in battle and promoting them through a couple of key means, basically defeating heroes and or removing other allies to do that. It reminds me a lot of trying to keep units alive in an RTS, which is a style of video game that you're not really familiar with. It's kind of like, where we're playing Fire Emblem right now.
Hmm.
And it's got a little bit of Fire Emblem in it too. But with an RTS, it's similar. It's a strategy game like Fire Emblem, but it never stops. Never stops moving. So it's a lot more frantic and stressful.
Okay.
And you have like a lot more units typically, and they die a lot more often, and so it is
Interesting
more
things.
notable to keep them alive. And then like when you keep them alive, like they're promoted over the course of the battle and become stronger. And I think that's a cool concept, and I think it's captured really well here through Captain Phasma.
Yeah, so there's four levels and you want to get them all to level four. And then there's one that starts at
Yeah,
three,
there's
starts at
yeah, there's
two.
one that starts at four. One that starts at four, one that starts at three, one that starts at two, and then the rest of them all start at one.
Mhm.
So there's you have to win. You have at least to get one from baseline all the way to four.
Yeah. And they can't go below where they start at.
Hmm.
But those ones that start at one, um, you get an ambition when you play them. Um, and then so the others, you can like pay ambition to keep them after you use them in a vanquish action.
It's
Um,
cool.
mhm. Yeah, it helps you utilize allies, even though you have other allies that you can also use
Yep.
with certain things. Um, and to raise them, there's an ambition. I'm sorry, certain cards that let you take a vanquish action and promote them or whatever. Because it's not just a normal vanquish action that's going to promote
No,
them.
that's true.
Which is why you'd have to.
I think that would be cool.
Mhm.
But it might be better, really. But I understand.
But you get really proud of your little white ones when
Definitely.
they get up there, and it's, they'll get brutalized, like they'll get one and they'll be taken away, and then when they finally get up to four, it's really
Yeah,
satisfying.
just like a actual RPG video game. So yes, obviously she's based on this. You can probably guess that she's not the fastest character in the world. She also struggles against, I'm sure, characters that can outspeed her. But I do think that few things in Star Wars Villainous are more satisfying than building up a level one stormtrooper to an officer.
Hmm.
And it's always, even in situations where you lose Captain Phasma, it's like, well, I had a good time while I was trying to level up my guys.
Yeah, and she's the one with only one ship, well, only one fate
Oh,
ship and only one ally ship, and I believe it's the Millennium Falcon, right? She's the one
I'm
where,
surprised.
um,
Millennium Falcon is a fate chip in mini decks.
well, but is she the one where they can go to the Millennium Falcon,
No,
like when
that's
she defeats him?
Darth Vader.
Oh, you're right. So that's a cool thing about Vader that we hardly ever use, but if it's out when you vanquish Seth, the hero can go to the Millennium Falcon instead of away, and then when you fate someone,
You can bring it back out.
yeah, instead of just going through the fate deck. Maybe that'd make them harder if we utilize that more.
Yeah,
Um, anyway, so I got that mixed up. I don't remember what her ship does,
me
but
either.
uh, it's, I think, more powerful than normal, which is why she only gets one. Uh, and yeah, there's something simple about her. It kind of in a way of Grievous, where it's like a little reaction, but relaxing, but also more strategy for sure. And there's a lot of stuff. Not only do you have to have the four, but they all have to be at different locations.
That's true.
And so there's a lot
And
of
you
stuff
can
to have
move them.
maneuvering.
Yeah.
Mhm. But
Unlike Thrawn, or you can't move the stuff anymore after they are locked in, which is other criticism I have of him.
well, just the
The stuff that lets him get toward his
the
objective.
fleets, yes.
Yes.
And that's because there's only four in the deck, and you have to use all
All
four.
Very annoying.
Mm.
So yeah, I think Ed Phasma's awesome. So she was my number 5. She's Reagan's number 4. My number 4 is General Grievous, so that means we're back around to Reagan for. That means that we are in agreement on the top 3.
Top three.
None of us have brought up the top 3 yet. For Reagan, number 3 is my number 2,
Interesting.
and that is Boba Fett. Um, Boba Fett has a winning record. All these characters, well, okay, that's not true. 2 of these 3 characters
I was just to say.
have a winning record. Boba Fett is 6-3, so he's won twice as many times as he's lost for us. For Reagan, her record with Boba Fett is 4-0, another one of the characters that you're undefeated with, alongside Darth Vader. Now, for
Interesting.
me, I have lost with Boba Fett plenty of times. In fact, I'm only 2-3 with him, so I have more losses than wins.
He's a Star Wars exclusive, I'm sorry, Target exclusive piece. So he's green with kind of a gold dusting on him, which I really like. It's, I mean, he's all the Star Wars, I'm sorry, Target exclusive pieces are not see-through. So it's not like you hold them up to the light and see stuff. So you kind of have to compensate for that. I say all. I think that the Tomatoa or whatever his name is, the crab from Disney.
No,
From
he's super.
He's not, well, he's got all the glitter. But I think you can also.
I don't think you can see them.
All right, well, uh, regardless, they kind of have to compensate for that, and some of them rarely make him good enough to compensate for that. And I think this one is.
Okay. I think so. Both that really goes hand in hand with another character that we have not discussed yet, which is Assaj Ventress. I have Assaj Ventress one spot lower than Boba Fett. I think I think he's basically just an upgraded version of her because they are very similar. They're basically trying to complete for him bounties for her missions where they have a variety of objectives that they need to accomplish. Randomized to a degree because she only has to complete 3 of her 5. She didn't even have to draw them. Boba Fett does have to draw his. He has 5 that he can pick from, and he only has to complete 4.
You have to draw both the contacts that
Yes,
are going to give him these missions.
and those, which makes him significantly harder. So because he has to work to even get his jobs to complete them,
Yeah, where
which
she
makes
has a
sense
special
because
debt.
that is how bounty hunters work. They have to work to get their jobs. Um, and then also he obviously has to complete one more than she does, even though his are harder to accomplish, I would argue. But I think he's a significantly deeper character than her. He has to pick a client to work for, and he has to consider the different rewards that he would get from each, which is
Yes.
awesome.
And how many they can hold. So Darth Vader can only hold one contract at a
Incorrect. He
time.
can hold 2,
Oh, someone
and
can
Jabba
hold
the Hutt
one.
can hold 2, and his other client is I think is it Bib Fortuna? It's the guy that works
Yeah.
for Jabba the Hutt.
And he
And
can only hold
he
one.
can hold 1, which is interesting that he would even work for that guy. But I
Yeah.
actually like him the best of them because he gives you a mix of rewards, whereas Darth
Yes.
Vader it's all ambition, Jabba it's all credits.
hmm and it doesn't really matter where you play them. So in that sense, it's kind of the same as Assad. There's same difference with Assad
Except for that
having
you
one
have to get them
sign.
first,
Yes, and
which
so
is a huge step.
you have to have the contact out first
Mhm.
before you do the contract.
Right?
And yeah, like you said, their strategy with which one you play where, and they can be taken away before you have any progress made on them.
Right.
And
But once you have progress on them, they cannot be taken away, which is really nice.
mhm.
And then another fun mechanic all of his allies, I'm going to call them that, are unique. But they are also not really allies because they're classified as bounty hunters because they can turn on him, which
Yes,
is super thematic
and sometimes you want them to.
and keeps him on his toes. Yeah, sometimes he actually wants to kill them. And then so that is really awesome, totally unique for Boba Fett as far as I can know, other than I guess Yzma.
Sure,
And
Khan can turn on
Disney.
you.
So I think that is incredible. And again, another an example of where literally all of his allies are unique. There are no duplicates.
Love that.
I must also admit that I do think between the two, since we're comparing him so directly to Assaj Ventress, I just think that he's a stronger character in the fiction than Assaj is, and I just enjoy playing him more, probably in part because of that.
That's fair.
Um,
And just to clarify, by unique, we don't just mean that these characters, like they're different people that do the same thing. They all have their own ability. They all have different strengths and different perks that come with either playing them or
yes,
things that you can do while they're out or
it's awesome.
modifiers they have. Yeah, and there's all sorts of things
That's
that,
another thing that he has over Assaj Ventress because she has just a bunch of those stupid Night Sisters that are worthless.
well, I like the Night Sister. We're not quite talking about her yet, so I'll defend them in a minute. But
Okay.
yeah, I remember I was really excited when he came out, because there was some stuff where like no one was topping Asajj for a
Oh
while.
yeah, she was easily our number one with a bullet at
Mhm.
first.
And I definitely hear an argument because Asajj can be too easy at
She's absolutely too. She's
stuff.
busted.
I have a lot of affection for her. She's my favorite color. She's all sorts of things. So I might just be biased and nostalgic for her being so above and beyond in that first pack.
Without question.
Um, by putting her above him. Um, but yeah, just right away we knew how great he was.
Hmm. And you won't have probably, unless you're Reagan, the same win rate with him as Assaj Ventress. But it's hard to imagine not having a good time while you are playing as Boba Fett.
Yeah, I'll say I said she was easier, but I've certainly lost with her and I've not lost with him.
Yes, technically my last one's for the Assaj. So my number three, Reagan's number two is Assaj Ventress. She's second place for character that we've had the most games with 17. And across those, she has 12 wins and 5 losses. So and only 2 of the losses are from us. Rest of them are for other people. So between us, she really only has 2 losses.
Sure. Well, and part of that is because I recommend her to first time players, even though she's a little more complicated than some of those other original Star Wars box characters. She's just so fun that anytime someone shows interest in her, you just got to go, oh, yeah, do it. You're going to have a great time when you want them to like Star Wars Villainous.
She was definitely the best character out of the original box. And quite frankly, I still think that there are arguments to be made that she is the most fun character and certainly the easiest to win with. We mentioned earlier the missions, she only has to complete 3, and she can do them in any order.
From her own special deck, there's 5
Don't have to
total.
find them. She can just get some as early as she wants
You only have 1 revealed at a time, but you can spend ambition to reveal more,
for very cheap.
which I never utilized before. And I think it might have been a little bit more fun to do that way because it stretches it out a little. But
Yeah, that stretches it out.
strategy wise, you definitely want to just reveal them at first and then work on all of them at once.
And she typically finds very little resistance for accomplishing her missions either. Some of them have required her to kill clones, which she can just like carve through like butter.
Oh, it's great. So satisfying.
And then, the rest of them are like other heroes, but she, like Jedi and stuff. And so they're a little harder, but still nothing that you can't figure out a way to kill. I mean, she literally has this card that lets her just kill anybody at her location instantly.
Sure.
Well, not instantly. I mean,
Well, yeah,
you
it
have
takes
to wait,
till
you
the
have to
next
wait a
turn.
turn. But
And I've had that go wrong where you
there's
spend
one card, literally one card that will let you try to stop that. One.
well, and I've had it used against me where you spend 4 ambition and then they move your hero away and well, that's it. Um, but the way her missions work, and this is also how the contracts work, is they have ambition action at the top that you can do for like free or for 1, or maybe there's 1.
No, well, Boba Fett's
2.
you have to pay. With hers, they're free.
Okay, so that's what it is.
Another example of how he's harder.
That helps you just automatically get the heroes out you need to kill if it's one of those, or go through your villain deck a little bit if it's something where you need specific cards.
It's always your pay deck. I don't think it's ever your villain deck.
I think for the Night Sister one, there's nothing you need from the fate deck.
Oh.
So I think it's something to do with like maybe draw 5 cards or something.
No, yeah, you're right. I think it is something about drawing more cards.
There's one where you only need to do 2 things.
That's really easy.
3 where you need 3, and then my favorite mission is actually the one where you need to do 4 things.
And it doesn't require defeating anybody.
No, it doesn't. But I think it kind of guides you through a cool combo with her, which is using home to get a bunch of Night Sisters, using Mother Talzin to upgrade them. And then, what's the other one?
Savage Press.
Savage Press does
He doesn't
something
really-
related to them, or
Well, he can like sacrifice them when doing vanquish actions, and he's way more powerful than they are. So
yeah. So it
like a little feel for his engine, I guess.
yeah. So it like gives you all these cards that are going to help you vanquish villains and for your other goals. It kind of walks you through an awesome combo that she can do. And like she's very episodic in her goals, I think, in Clone Wars from what we've seen so far, and this definitely captures that.
Yes.
It's different every time.
Yes, that's I think my favorite thing about her is that no 2 games are really the same because you get the missions in a random order, and you only even have to do 3 of the 5. So there are missions that you will not do in a single game. So she has a ton of replay value compared to most characters.
Yes. Really, really well done. I guess the only notes would be I wish it lasted longer.
Well, then I have a great character for you, and his name is Boba Fett.
Yeah. I think that, like, I don't know, maybe to put her more playable against some of these newer, harder ones, maybe you would just have a modification that said she needed to do 4. And when you complete them, you get ambition, so it, you're kind of fueled to keep going. She's awesome.
Yes. So then we have our both of our number ones.
That's interesting. I didn't know where you were going to fall on him.
I know, I didn't want to spoil it for you.
You did not. It's exciting.
Number one is a new character.
New box. In the box with Thrawn, who is our biggest discrepancy.
That's right. So yes, this new character is in fact Count Dooku.
Count Dooku. Ugly colored piece. Just this ugly piss
I don't know
brown.
if they did that.
I don't either. It's because I have too many red.
Yeah.
Although the inside of their box is awesome. It's like these constellations that are drawn through. It's gorgeous.
So technically, this is actually the character that we've spent the least amount of time with because we've only done 4 Count Dooku games, one of which we had to throw out because of my Thrawn screw up.
And so that could be part of it is we're new and high on this character. We're not burnt out.
That's true. Neither of us have won with this character yet. Reagan,
No, that's so fun.
Reagan had to throw her first game out, which she lost anyway.
Yeah.
And then another loss. I lost with them twice as well. Although I have come the closest. It was 1 token away.
I think my best one was that one that we threw out, which
How convenient for you to say.
well, it wasn't my fault.
So as I started writing my notes on these characters, I actually fully expected to put Boba Fett number 1.
Interesting.
But in between me starting the notes for this podcast and this recording of it, we actually had a multi-hour marathon of a game where it was me as Count Dooku and Reagan as Grand Admiral Thrawn. And I lost by literally a single intimidation token, which, I mean, he has to get, what, 100 of them to win the game?
Just about a million.
So it's like a 1% loss, which is, because losing by 1 for Kylo Ren, like that would also be close, but there's 6 of them.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
we're talking about like at the scale of like 100.
The closest game ever in all of Villainous is we had with him and Thrawn.
Yes.
And I made you, or I didn't make you, but I encouraged you to play him again. I wanted us to both have played him at least twice, or everyone.
Yeah, and I was already going to have him very high. I think I had him at 3 before this. And so, I was frustrated by that loss. But when I looked back on just the depth of the strategy that I considered during that entire game, I could not help but appreciate how strong he was.
Strong
I think
strategy.
he is a deeper character, maybe than Villainous has ever created, and maybe the most challenging as well. Like just trying to figure out a way to maneuver all those intimidation tokens where you need them to go and generate enough is very challenging, but it's also very exhilarating.
So satisfying when you get one because it took so much to get there. It's not as much that you're brutalized, although there's some hard stuff.
Well, his restriction is ridiculous.
Yeah, the restriction is brutal.
Not Kylo Ren levels are brutal, but it's up there.
It's up there. I think the
Maybe
first
number
game I
2.
spent half of it because it happened so early before I was prepared at all.
Yes.
I don't even know if we explained what his goal is, but the restriction is you have to kill 3 heroes before you can even get a single new, what are they called?
Intimidation
tokens. He's trying to intimidate organizations into being on his side. So there's, I think, 5 that you can have.
So he has a little bit of variation, although there's not a ton of variation between them, really.
Yeah, they're in the villain deck. You can play them wherever to each place, and where you put them is
That's kind
important.
of matter.
Yeah. They don't have to be played to anything like with Boba Fett, the contracts have to be played to a contact. But it's like 20 to 30 intimidation tokens you need, and they are hard to get. And with that restriction out, you have to kill 3 heroes before you can get a single one.
Yes.
And so killing heroes is also one way that you can get these intimidation tokens. If you murder someone in front of an organization, they're going to be a little bit more intimidated by you.
Yes. And he kind of feels like the ultimate Star Wars villainous character in some ways, just because most of his allies are like other characters in the game. Like he has Assaj, he has Cad Bane, he has General Grievous. He doesn't have Boba Fett, but he has Jango Fett, which is essentially the same character. All of them have unique abilities and strengths.
And great ones too.
And so certainly I think he was robbed as the rightful cover star of the new expansion over Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Other than Thrawn looks cooler.
But I think he is for where I am right now, a number 1 character in Star Wars Villainous.
Yeah, his ships are really cool. They're really helpful. and you're brutalized, but you're just gonna have a great time. Lots of deep strategy, just
Yeah.
exactly what I'm looking for in Star Wars Villainous.
Yeah, and just like so far ahead of. I cannot think of of a Disney character that even comes close to the level of strategy that you have to utilize to win, which we have not even accomplished as kind of Dooku.
Hmm.
So that's why I like Star Wars Villainous so much, and why it is my favorite version of Villainous. And so that is it for our ranking of the characters of Star Wars Villainous. We are going to start working on our Disney rankings next. It's going to take a little bit more time, considering there are almost triple the number of characters in Disney than there are Star Wars. There's 30 versus 12. But that will set the stage for some more varied matchups. And it's been a while since I played most of the Disney characters, so I'm looking forward to doing that.
Yeah. Let us know if you agree, if you disagree, if there's major things we're missing about any of these characters. I haven't seen any list that's ranked all of them at this point. I've seen Disney lists.
They're outdated big time.
Yeah. But I actually don't think I've seen any Star
I
Wars
haven't
lists at
either.
all.
Yeah.
And there's a lot more depth to them. There's a lot of things that you discover, especially with the vehicles, I think, or with the fate decks, like things you need to do, where it can take like 7 times playing them, and you're like, oh, there's a whole new level to the strategy that I've been missing. And lots of different, especially with Dooku. I mean, there's lots of different ways to win. There's lots of different ways to get there. Yeah, I really love this game. It can be brutal. It can be like make you really cranky because obviously you're actively being villainous. You're actively sabotaging each other's goals that feel so good to get.
Yes.
But part of it is what makes it so satisfying is how difficult it can be.
Yes. So, yes, like Reagan said, right into the show, you can at ControlledBurnes@gmail.com. Maybe you can even write something a little bit more insightful than Eddie did.
He was right. He had a very sexy voice.
And then
thank you, Eddie.
In terms of
insult people that write in, or they're not going to write in.
I guess that's true. And then in terms of like future content, I am really interested in doing elimination tournaments with the 2 rosters. When we finish our Disney rankings, we have done 1 each. But the Star Wars one was only when there was 5 characters. Disney was back when we had, I guess it was before Oogie Boogie, so we probably had low 20s at that time. And then in the midst of that, of course, I'll continue working on my top 100 artist list. We just have 40 entries to go on that. And then we'll eventually get back to our Andor and Game of Thrones series as well. So yes, right into the show if you'd like, and if you do like the show, you can subscribe, follow, like, review wherever you listen to your podcast. But for now, until next time, keep it warm.
Keep it warm.